pleasant evening and a very warm welcome to the National News Broadcast. We are coming to you live from the Rupavahini's news studios. I'm Dilanjali Ananda.
I'm Niket Karunaratne and we'll start off with the headlines as usual.
The remains of Anula Jayatilaka, who was killed in Israel, have been brought to the island. The United Nations General Assembly unanimously approves a proposal for a humanitarian ceasefire in the Gaza Strip. The elephant Agbo has been subjected to another shooting attack. Arrested Danish Ali has been released on bail. Heavy showers in several provinces. Earth slip warnings have been issued in 6 districts. The body of the main suspect of the Lewiston, Maine shooting incident in the US has been found.
On to those and other stories in detail now. Today is Full Moon Poya Day, which has recorded many important events in the history of the Buddha Sasana.
The offering of Katina robe puja commences with the Vap Poya. The history of Buddha Sasana mentions that the Buddha visited Tatisa heaven and preached Abhidhamma to his mother in the previous birth and arrived at Sankasapura in Dhammadiva on a day like today. Another significant incident that occurred today is the bringing of a branch of Jayasri Mahabodhi from India. The passing away of Arahat Mihindu, preaching of Vinaya Pitakaya at Tuparamaya by the Arahat Aritta are other important historic events that are connected to the Vap Full Moon Poya Day. The Buddhist monks end observing Vas and the Vap Full Moon Poya Day. Vap Full Moon Poya Day sermon organised by the Prime Minister's office took place today with the participation of Prime Minister Dinesh Gunawardena, chief incumbent of the Agrabodhi Rajamahaviharya, Valigama and Lucknow Buddhist Vihara in India, and acclaimed professor of the Ruhunu University, Venerable Midigama Sorata Thera, delivered the sermon.
අද මේ රටේ අපට සිද්ධ වෙලා තියෙන්නේ නුගුණවතුන්ගේ ගුණ සජ්ජායනා කරන්න. ඕකට හැබැයි ගමේ ගොඩේ කියන්නේ අන්දවනවා කියලා.
Sri Lanka Rupavahini Corporation telecast live Sadharma Varsha Poya Day religious programs from Athuruvela, Puhulle, Sri Babilavanarama Vihara. The program includes Attasil campaign, Buddha Puja, Dhamma sermons and discussions. Badulla historic Mutiyangana Rajamahavihara was filled with devotees. A series of programs have been organised under the guidance of Chief Prelate of the temple and the Mahanayaka of Askiri chapter, Most Venerable Varakagoda Jnanaratna Thera. Planting of sapling of the sacred Jayasri Ma Bodhi tree of the Anuradhapura at the Katapitiya Purana Vihara has taken place recently under the patronage of the Atamashthanadipati, Anuradhapura Venerable Pallegama Sirinivasa Nayaka Thera. Chief incumbent of the Katapitiya Purana Vihara, Rajakiya Pandita Venerable Kahagala Sumanajodi Thera has presided over the ceremony. Now, the body of Anula Jayatilaka, killed in the Hamas organization attack in Israel, was brought to Sri Lanka this morning.
The Sri Lanka Foreign Employment Bureau says the government of Israel has agreed to extend cooperation in the conducting of the final rites. 49-year-old Anula Jayatilaka was engaged in services as a domestic maid in a house near the Gaza Strip for a period of nearly 10 years. The relatives have identified the body of Anula placed at a funeral parlour in Israel. Prior to the dispatch of the body, the staff of the Sri Lankan embassy and Sri Lankan nationals in Israel have paid their last respects and performed religious observances. Family members were at the Katunayaka International Airport to receive the body. It was brought to the Negombo Hospital this afternoon for a post-mortem examination. The remains of Anula Jayatilaka are scheduled to be brought to a house in Lumbini Place in Pranshavatta, Dalugama, Kalaniya tonight. Sri Lanka Consular General in Israel, Dinesh Rodrigo, said that he extends profound condolences on behalf of the Israel government and the Israel Embassy in New Delhi. Media spokesman of the Sri Lankan Foreign Employment Bureau, Gamini Senratyapa, said that it is greatly anticipated through the mediation of the Consular General that the embassy staff and the Bureau to hand over the due furnishing of funds of the Israeli government to the relatives of late Anula Jayatilaka, the victim of the warfare.
Now, the United Nations General Assembly approved the non-binding resolution today calling for a humanitarian truce in Gaza, leading to the cessation of hostiles between Israel and Gaza's Hamas rulers, the first United Nations response to the war. Sri Lanka also voted in favor of the resolution.
In favor,
The 193-member world body adopted the resolution by a vote of 120-14 with 45 abstentions after rejecting a Canadian amendment backed by the United States. It would have unequivocally condemned the October 7 terrorist attacks by Hamas and demanded the immediate release of the hostages taken by Hamas, which is not mentioned in the Arab-drafted resolution. Riyad Manzoor, the Palestinian UN ambassador, called the General Assembly more courageous, more principled than the divided UN Security Council, which failed in 4 attempts during the past 2 weeks to reach agreement on a resolution. The 14 countries that voted against the resolution include Israel and its closest ally, the United States, 5 Pacific Island nations and 4 European countries, Austria, Croatia, Czechia and Hungary, all European Union members. Israel's UN ambassador Gilad Erdan said that Israel will not stop the operation until Hamas terror capabilities are destroyed and hostages are returned. The ambassador further said that the only way to destroy Hamas is root them out of their tunnels and the subterranean city of terror. Unlike Security Council resolutions, the General Assembly resolutions are not legally binding, but it carries incredible weight and moral authority.
The Israeli army said its ground forces were extending the ground operations. Israeli military spokesman Major Nir Dinar says its armed forces entered the areas of northern Gaza and expanded the scope of their operations. Before extending the ground operations, all communications, including the internet, was cut off. Media and aid groups are unable to get a clear picture of the assault and the damages caused by the airstrikes. The Israeli army says that fighter jets hit 150 terror tunnels, underground combat spaces and additional underground infrastructure in overnight raids, adding that several Hamas terrorists were killed. Hamas armed wing had previously said its fighters were confronting an Israeli ground incursion in Beit Hanun in the northern Gaza Strip and East Burej, adding that violent engagements are taking place in the ground. The Qassam Brigade said on Telegram it responded with salvos of rockets. The Israeli further states that it is fighter jets struck Azam Abu Rakaba, head of Hamas aerial array. It said Abu Rakaba was responsible for Hamas UAVs, drones, paragliders, aerial detection and aerial defense, and had taken part in planning the surprise attacks inside Israel earlier this month.
And now for an in-depth analysis of what is happening in the Israel-Hamas conflict and the impact of the UN resolution, we have our foreign news analyst, Mr. Prasad Dodangodage. So, Mr. Prasad, what's the status of the Israel-Hamas conflict?
Yes, Niket, now we saw that news about UN resolution as well as ground operations. Now, I would like to go to this map and explain some in-depth situations, because now according to Israel Air Force, they have bombed tunnel systems in Gaza belong to Hamas fighters. Now, according to Israel Air Force, last night actually we saw one of the most ferocious air attack. That was the most severe air attack we saw in the whole campaign that launched 3 weeks ago, because now the Hamas brutal attack on Israel, it has taken place 3 weeks ago. Now during the whole war effort, last night was the most severe air strikes conducted by Israel. According to Israel Air Force, they have conducted more than 150 air raids in these areas. Now, there's a little bit skeptical because they said they have directly destroyed some underground tunnels. Now we saw that it's like a maze, various kind of tunnels built by Hamas. They are in different levels and different depths and very complicated systems. These tunnels are linked to some unknown areas. That's what the military analyst explained. So, it's not clear how Israel Air Force destroyed these things, because these tunnel systems are in the on the second layer, but on the first layer we could see a lot of civilian infrastructure, buildings, homes, all these things. That's why Israel army now warn for the third time. They have warned the Gaza citizens who are living in the northern part of the northern Gaza area to leave immediately, because they are going to launch a major offensive, but in a different style, not as a now we could see it's not as a whole overall invasion. Now at the moment they are operating inside, as we saw in the previous news item. They are already operating inside Israel. They have launched limited ground strikes and attacks on selected targets and moving back and forth. It's a different tactic than previously, because of the last invasion, ground invasion Israel launched in Gaza back in 2014. It's totally different now. To destroy the Hamas very complex ground tunnel system, Israel Air Force has to use a massive firepower, because first they have to demolish this the top layer of buildings. That's what they are doing at the moment, we could see, because now if we could see in various news websites the pictures of comparison, the pictures of previous Gaza, the situation, and the pictures of Gaza's air and satellite pictures, and in those pictures we could see the buildings, and in the second set of pictures they compare with the destruction. Some of the areas totally flattened by the Israel air attacks. So now the thing is, normally when we use air power, they have to use bunker buster smart bombs. That those are bombs that penetrate the ground layer and goes deep into the ground and explode. But here it's a different situation, because on the top layer we could see a lot of buildings and houses. So it's not, according to military analysts, it's not very practical to use that type of weapon, even because that weapon designed to move inside the ground, but in a very crowded area like Gaza, it's little bit counterproductive. That's according to the military specialist analysis we could see in various media and other reports. So now, according to the United Nations General Assembly resolution, a ceasefire, humanitarian ceasefire has been called, but in all signs we could realize that Israel is not going to abide by this resolution as they did in the past. They are determined to continue the ground operation. That's what the Israeli ambassador to the UN very clearly mentioned, that they are going to conduct this operation and continue this operation until they destroy the Hamas capabilities. It will now in every area we could imagine that it will be a very long and dragging type war, because now this war has already dragged for 3 weeks. But the ground operation that Israel is currently engaged in could be another prolonged war. That's what we could imagine in the present status of Israel and Palestine.
This is in the we have been getting the reports about a lot of children casualties from the children's, and that is devastating to see. But at the same time,
yes, Tulanjan, that's why the United Nations Security Council intervened, and earlier European Union also made such a request. Then there were many more requests from various parties, and there is another diplomatic effort continued by Qatar as the mediator between Hamas and Israel to arrange some kind of a humanitarian ceasefire. That ceasefire, the main aim of that ceasefire is to provide relief to the Gaza people. We saw their situation very very inhumane situation now they are facing. So that one aspect of that ceasefire is to provide relief to those people, innocent people. At the same time, from the Israel side, the mediators want to rescue, release the hostages. Now, according to Israel, more than 200 hostages are under custody of Hamas. So, the mediators are pushing Hamas as well to release those hostages and come into some kind of a negotiated platform. But still we don't see that, because Israel's determination that the Israel military top level military officers mentioned that they are going to rescue those hostages, and it will be a very difficult and very dangerous task, because now according to all reports we get from Gaza, those hostages are being held inside those tunnel systems.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Prasad Dangadage, our senior news analyst, international news analyst, for joining us to bring the latest on the conflict between Israel and Palestinians.
And moving on with more local news stories, Danish Ali, who has been arrested at the Fort railway station, was released on bail. He was taken into custody in connection of a clash with a group of railway officials yesterday. The same Danish Ali was reported to have forcefully entered the Rupavahini Corporation premises during the Aragalaya period and behaved in an unruly manner. He had forcefully taken part in a live TV program as well in the mayhem. After the Aragalaya period, he had attempted to discreetly flee the country via the Katunayake International Airport. However, he was arrested in the aircraft and produced before the judiciary. It was last afternoon that Danish Ali started a row with a group of officials near the ticket counter at the Fort railway station. He was handed over to the Fort police station for further investigations. The railway department has submitted a complaint regarding the incident to the Fort police. Danish Ali was produced before the judicial medical officer last night. Upon being produced before the Chief Magistrates Court half-stop today, the suspect was ordered to be released on a surety bail of 100,000 rupees. Further hearings of the case have been postponed till the 10th of next month. Now, the elephant Agbo, which has been recuperating from the wounds sustained due to setting off of a trap gun, was reported to have been shot once again in the back of his body.
However, the veterinarians say the injuries are not serious. Agbo has undergone treatment continuously for a period of nearly 4 months and was in a state of recovering 80% from the gunshot injuries. It was got used to walking a distance of nearly 10 kilometers per day. Upon hearing the renewed shooting incident, Chief Veterinarian of the Anuradhapura region, Dr. Chandra Jayasinghe, and the medical staff have immediately responded and attended to further treatment. Several surgeries have been performed on the elephant and many blood tests and scanning tests taken. According to medical recommendations, the wildlife officials have taken measures to provide a daily diet of 250 to 300 kilograms of vegetables, fruits and grass to the elephant. The invigorated Akbar elephant, who was slowly being acclimated to forest life once again, was said to have attacking cultivations and houses in search of food. The wildlife officials in the Tirupani Wildlife Office said it was difficult to track the movements of the elephant during night time. It was during heavy rains that the elephant was once again subjected to shooting incident. We'll be back with more news from home after this break. Welcome back. We continue with news from home. The Department of Meteorology predicts on the possibility of having thunder showers and lightning in the next few hours in the provinces of Western, Sabaragamu, Southern and Uva, as well as in the districts of Kurunegala, Polonnaruwa and Ampara.
The department informs the general public to take precautionary measures to minimize the accidents caused by lightning. The areas of Kadduwa, Valetota, Ihala Vitiala, Karagoda and Narangala, located in the lower valley of the Nilvala River, continue to face flood threats despite a decline in heavy rainfall. The salty barrier in the Nilvala River has paved the way for an inappropriate disposal of floodwaters, thereby adversely affecting the tea and cinnamon cultivations in the area. Many areas in Gaul and Alpitia were underwater due to heavy rainfall yesterday, inundating several roads. But Banhena on the Alpitia Alutkama main road and Katandola in the Alpitia Pitigala main road were underwater. Meanwhile, Minister Mahinda Amaraveera says compensation amount 100,000 rupees will be provided for each hectare of cultivated lands of the farmers destroyed by floods. The minister at SARC Region Agricultural Development discussion in Gatambe also said that the funds will be extended without a delay as the cabinet approval has already been received for the proposal. A group cornered by floods in Imbulgoda, Akurassa came in boats and barges for the Bodhi Puja offering yesterday, extending wishes that the inclement weather would dissipate quickly. Around 200 residents are affected by the floods. The story of a remarkable saviour of 16 families struck by the floods has been reported from Aptudua in Matara. The saviour, named Dharme Mama, was reported to have volunteered to bring the children and the professionals of the flooded village to safety. The mountain slope areas of Ibulgoda and Rock Hill are threatened with the prospect of falling rocks of Glen Alpine Mountain in the Namanukula mountain range. Many houses have already been damaged due to the falling of boulders. Soil erosion due to the heavy rain has resulted in the impending dangers.
And we have more news from home in brief. Vessel Akibono, belonging to the Japanese Coast Guard Task Force, has arrived at the Trincomalee harbour today on an official tour. A traditional guard of honour was conducted by the Sri Lankan Navy for the visiting ship. The ship, with a crew of 172 members, is scheduled to leave the island on 31st. The annual procession of sacred relics of the Sri Bodhiraja Ramavihare in Giriulla has paraded the streets recently. It was conducted under the patronage of chief incumbent of the Vihare, Venerable Gadaladenye Sudhammananda Thera. The casket relics was placed upon the Singaraja elephant by the chief judicial Sanganayaka of the Vayamba Disava, Venerable Mirihane Dhammapala Thera, and Diyavadana Nilambe of the Sri Dalada Maligava Pradeep Nilanga Dala. Blood donation camp organised by the 2000 group of past students of Dharmaraj College, Kandy, was conducted at the Baptist Church in Dalada Vidya today. Another blood donation campaign organised by the Vihara Mahadevi Women's Organisation of Kirillavala was held at the Kande Vihare in Kirillavala recently. Chief incumbent of the Vihare, Venerable Thonpitiye Anandathera and members of the commando camp in Ganemulla have also participated. Wearing of official badges on the new Boy Scouts of the DS Senanayake College, Colombo has taken place yesterday. Boy Scouts Commissioner of the Colombo district, Amila Abesundara, has presided over the event on fixing official emblems on 45 Boy Scouts. Presentation of golden certificates and gold stars have also been presented to who are scheduled to function as Boy Scouts from next year after ending the trainee period. A gang which stormed into a bakery in the Station Road in Kotagala, Hatton, was reported to have attacked 2 employees and damaged 2 lorries parked nearby. The 10-member group of attackers have not yet been identified. Sri Lanka won a gold medal for the first time in a World Youth Chess Championship tournament conducted in Egypt recently. The gold medalist Oshni Devi Gunawardena has returned to Sri Lanka from the Katunayake International Airport this morning.
80 competitors representing 75 countries have taken part in the tournament. Oshni is a grade 6 student at the Michel International School in Colombo. Sri Lanka has won another bronze medal at the Asian Para Games tournament. The winner of this medal was Madhuranga Subhasinghe, who has secured the 3rd place in the 400-meter event of the men's T47 category. Subhasinghe has finished the event with a timing of 50.38 seconds.
That's all the news we have for tonight. Join us tomorrow at the same time for the very latest on Channel I. I'm Delanjali, together with Niket, signing off. Good night.
Good night.